This episode contains adult themes and is not appropriate for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Hello, the world. This is They Will Kill, a true crime podcast. I am Courtney Eck.
And I'm Sadie Eck.
And we're sisters, and we're going to talk about murder. And I know a teeny weeny little bit about this one. I had to watch a video before this started, and based on just this 5-minute video I watched that Sadie sent me, I'm very excited about this episode. I cannot wait to hear what happens, so take it away, Sadie.
Yeah, I gave you some homework.
I didn't mind the homework. At first, I was like, you can't tell me what to do. And then 1 second into the video, I was like, this is highly entertaining, and I cannot wait to find out more about it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Thanks.
Tonight, I'm going to talk about Kai, the Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker.
I mean, see, guys? See what I mean? What the fuck?
Mm-hmm. I relied heavily on an article in the Globe and Mail titled Hitchhiker, Hero, Celebrity, Killer. The Strange Journey of a Man Called Kai, written by Jana G. Pruden. She's an amazing journalist and did a lot of the articles that I referenced in Tamara Keepness's case.
Ah, nice.
I know. When I saw her name, I was like, hey, thank you so much for all of your amazing, really hard work.
Sadie's officially a fangirl.
Yep. And I'm actually going to start with a direct quote from the article. So, quote, "It was late in the morning on February 1st, 2013, when Caleb Lawrence McGillivray met Jesus Christ on the highway outside of Bakersfield. He had been on the road a good while by then, having left his home in Alberta as a teenager to find his own way in the world. He'd gone back at times, back to his family, back to school or work, but that kind of routine never suited him for long, and by the early months of 2013, he was drifting once again. Not homeless, he would tell people, home free.
Yeah.
He'd hitchhiked through provinces and states, walked over mountains and across borders. He moved as the mood took him, sleeping under bridges and in vans and on boats and couches, working when he had to, finding friends and parties and beaches to surf along the way. He called himself Kai, unless the authorities were asking, in which case he was Edward Carl Nicodemus, or whatever other series of monk years might come to mind.
I love him. Sadie's oldest and I play a game where we'll say, I don't know how it started, but I'll be like, is your name Flapdyback Ziggerhoffen? And he's really good at it. He's only 5. He's like, yeah, I can't even come up with one that's as good as he would have come up with. But
well,
it's my favorite game.
My name is Jack Snacks.
Jack Snacks.
He was 24 years old. The road had turned him lean and luminous, burnished golden by dirt and sun. He spent the last night of March sleeping alongside Route 99 in California, the road heading north toward Fresno. He was standing beside the highway when a black Oldsmobile rolled to a stop, and the driver beckoned him inside. On that morning, Jet Simmons McBride was on his way to thwart a terrorist attack he believed, from conspiracy theories he read on the internet and his own calculation of numbers and signs, was about to occur at the Super Bowl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh. So this guy picked him up.
Yeah, so McBride is the driver. He's picked Kai, the hitchhiker, up.
Got it.
He was 54, well over 6 feet tall and almost 300 pounds. With a thin bow of a mouth and pillowy bags under his eyes, he'd barely slept or eaten for weeks, and had recently come to the conclusion that he was Jesus Christ.
Just another day on the road for Kai.
Right?
Right.
McBride had thrown away his cell phone and left his dog, Zoe, on the side of the road so neither could be used to trace him.
Ugh.
When his phone was found and returned, he smashed it and threw it away again. He was doing his best to ignore the white trucks he knew were members of the Illuminati following him. Then he saw the hitchhiker. Everything was fine between them on the way to Fresno. They talked about God and Walmart, and numerology. And when they got to the city, McBride gave Kai $40 to buy pot. The car was overheating, so they smoked a joint while Kai poured water into the radiator until it was ready to go again. Even after everything that happened in the minutes that followed, McBride would still say Kai was the coolest son of a bitch he'd ever met. If things had gone differently, he said he could have imagined adopting him like a son. Once they got the car running again, Kai later told police that McBride told him he was Jesus Christ, and to prove he could, quote, do whatever he wanted, McBride then plowed his car into a group of PG&E workers.
Ugh.
He threw one man several feet and pinned another to a truck.
Jesus.
Yeah. Thinking fast, Kai grabbed the keys from the ignition so McBride wouldn't be able to do any more damage with his car. Witnesses described McBride emerging from the car screaming, quote, "I'm Jesus Christ," yelling death threats and racial slurs. McBride then tried to yank the crushed worker from between the vehicles, tugging at him until a former nurse who had been across the street ran over and put herself between them, trying to protect the injured man.
Mm-hmm.
McBride grabbed the woman in a bear hug and was kissing and hitting her. That's when Kai ran toward them with a hatchet. He brought the hatchet down onto McBride's head to stop him from attacking the woman. Once McBride was down on the ground, Kai stopped hitting him and started to walk away from the crime scene. His job was done. He had stopped the man from causing any more harm.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Witnesses stopped him and told him to wait for the police. Ultimately, McBride was charged with attempted murder, assault with a deadly weapon, and battery for a car attack.
Wait, he lived?
Yeah.
Oh my god. With the hatchet head?
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yep. He was eventually committed to a state mental hospital for a maximum of 9 years. Jessup Reisbeck was an experienced reporter at KMPH, the local Fox affiliate TV station in Fresno. The call came through the scanner, and he rushed to the scene. Reisbeck was talking to a witness when he spotted Kai walking nonchalantly across the street. The reporter ran over to catch him. Quote, "Are you the hero?" he asked. The interview Reisbeck captured on video would go viral overnight.
Mm-hmm. For good reason.
That's
it's
right.
amazing.
So we're going to play the video, a little clip of the... Oh, wait, no, did we decide we'll do the whole thing?
I think we got to play the whole thing.
Okay.
It's 5 minutes long, but I was only not entertained for maybe 10 seconds of the 5 minutes. So I vote full video.
Okay.
If you don't want to listen to the full video, skip ahead, but it's pretty great.
So we will play the audio for you now.
What's up? I'm one of the heroes.
Yeah. Can we talk to you? Do you mind?
What do you want to talk about?
What happened today?
Well, went straight out of Dogtown, skateboarding, surfing it up. Before I say anything else, I want to say no matter what you've done, you deserve respect. Even if you make mistakes, you're lovable. And it doesn't matter your look, skills, or age, or size, or anything, you're worthwhile. No one could ever take that away from you. Now, this stuff right here, I was driving and I was in the passenger side of this fucker's car, and he comes over on there. He was over by the recycling center. He says, "Oh, when I was in the Virgin Islands, 30 years old on a business trip, I fucked this 14-year-old. I was like, "You what?" He's like, "I raped this 14-year-old." Starts crying, gives me a big hug. He's like fucking 300-pound guy. I'm like, "Oh shit, you must be fuckered, man. Like, what's he talking about?" I didn't take him seriously at first. He comes driving down this way. He's like, "You know what? I come to realize I'm Jesus Christ, and I can do anything I fucking want to." And watch this, bam, and he smashed into this fucking guy right there, pinned him in between that fucking truck. And so I hop out, I look over, the guy's pinned there. I mean, like, freight train riders know this. Like, if you get pinned between something, do not fucking move that shit, otherwise you bleed out. Like, motherfucking, I ran in, I grabbed the keys, he's fucking sitting there like nothing even happened. And like fucking like, man, if you started driving that car around again, man, there would have been a hell of a lot of bodies around here. Fucking I hop on out, and so I grabbed the bag, I threw it over by that pole right there, and then fucking Buddy gets out, and these two women are trying to help him. He runs up and he grabs one of them, man. Like a guy that big can snap a woman's neck like a pencil stick. So I fucking ran up behind him with a hatchet, smash, smash, smash. Yeah.
The lady said you saved her life.
She was the one who got grabbed by that fucker. You know what? Fuck is cool. That guy ain't. Shit.
How'd you get in his car? How did you?
I was hitchhiking. Good thing I was hitchhiking. Yeah, people say don't hitchhike. Well, this is what happens. At least I was here.
So he did this on purpose.
Dude, that guy was fucking cooked out, man. Like, he's beyond howley. Like, I don't even see any breath in him. You know what I'm saying?
Can I get your name and where you're from, if you don't mind?
I'm Kai.
Kai? Can I get spelling for you, buddy?
Straight out of Dogtown. K-A-I.
K-A-I. Do you have a last name?
No, bro. I don't have anything.
Where are you from originally? Are you from Fresno area?
Sophia, West Virginia.
No kidding. How old are you?
I can't call it.
Okay. What have you ever experienced anything like today? And what made you take the actions that you did?
That woman was in danger. He just finished what looked like at the time killing somebody, and if I hadn't have done that, he would have killed more people. So he's dead. Good.
You ever experienced anything like that, Kai?
Well, this one time I was in an orchard and this fucking guy starts beating on this woman who he calls his. So I walked on over and I started smashing him in the head. You see all these teeth marks right here for the camera? Yeah, I started smashing him in the head and in the teeth, busted out all his teeth. Motherfucking the sheriffs, not the policy enforcers, fucking show up and start like, they're like, yeah, so what happened? I mean, like, just give me any old name and just give me old fucking birthday, whatever, just, yeah.
What happened today after you're obviously free now, but were you arrested? What was the process? What did they do to you when they came out? Obviously, they found out that you did the right thing, but the time that from the accident until now, where have you been?
Well, he started following I cleaned his motherfucking head wide open with a hatchet. He stood up like he was pulled right up, right? And like, fuck it, I'm like, bro, hey, if you're fucking Jesus Christ, I'll be the Antichrist, man. Like, fuck that shit. And he starts following me off this way, so I figure I'll lure him away from the crowd. So I'm running off this way. I got a hatchet in one hand, motherfucking this bag I'm carrying over with another hand. I start running off that way. And so a couple of the people who was bystanders to it came over and told me to stop. And I was like, why stop? And he was like, the cops are already on their way. I was like, is he back up and doing anything? And somebody said that he was like masturbating in front of this school or fucking whatever this place is right here. Yeah.
Were you questioned by police? Were you taken into custody? What happened? I mean, obviously.
I was questioned. I was put into the back of the sheriff's wagon. It wasn't the policies that fucking pulled I over. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So like, I got put in the back of the sheriff's wagon. The sheriff was like, "What happened here?" Took down a statement. I told him everything I just told you, and fucking let me on out. Said I couldn't grab all this stuff until I had finished, like they had finished with something. You know what I mean? And like brought me back on over here so I could be in front of this thing, like this fucking car right here. This is fucking gnarly, man. Holy shit! It's like the biggest wave I've ever ridden in my life.
What's next for you, Kai?
Hopefully some surfing. If anybody's watching this somewhere else and they got a mini Mal that they could lend a guy with a wetsuit, I'd love to test out Mavericks.
Would you do it again?
Club him in the head with a hatchet? You know, if I could go back in time, I'd go back over to where I was at that recycling center and he said that he had raped that chick over in the Virgin Islands, because it doesn't matter where you at. You can fucking just spend a bunch of money and do whatever the fuck you want, you know? That's not right. If I could go back in time, I would have dabbed him up right there.
No, you're not. I mean, it doesn't seem like you have any concern for yourself. You're all about, I mean, doing the right thing and not even worrying about Kai first.
I don't have any family. Like, as far as anybody I grew up with is concerned, I'm already dead. So, whatever.
The article continues, quote, Kai the Hatchet-Wielding Hitchhiker had been born. A video posted by the cameraman was viewed 400,000 times overnight, and versions by the station and Risebeck and by others who appropriated it for profit on their own YouTube and social media channels were racking up thousands and then millions of views within hours.
Yeah, you can see why. Mm-hmm. I mean, we were talking about it before we started recording, and we're like, he seems familiar, but I think it's because he's like the shredding the gnar guy, which I'm sure that video has 48 gazillion views by now.
Right.
It's just like, who is this guy? What the fuck is going on? What is he talking about? But I also kind of don't care because it's so entertaining, right?
Right. Well, it's so goofy and like horrific all at the same time.
Yeah.
The things that he's saying and describing are really
the way he's describing
dark.
it.
Yeah.
And you also kind of wish that you could react to the world the way he does. Mm-hmm. You know, like I know that he probably experiences deep pain and trauma, but it would be so nice if we could all just be like, yeah, man. You know, like,
One man got 5 million views on the video in barely more than a day before the station ordered him to take it down.
Wow.
Yeah. Kai himself was a mystery. He hadn't spoken with any other reporters at the scene, and he had no phone, no address, and hadn't given out his real name or where he was from. Mm-hmm. The only known contact was Risebeck, who had his email address. At some point, Risebeck was getting dozens of messages every minute, all from people looking for Kai. The video spread quickly across the state and across the country and across the world until it reached northern Alberta, where it was shared between Kai's siblings and parents. Initially, it's just another dispatch from his travels with notes that said, quote, if you're curious what Kai is up to.
What? His family? Yeah. His family was just casually reposting it?
Well, people were giving it to his family, like telling his.
See.
Right. So that people are like, hey, did you see this? Here's Kai.
Got it. I thought it was like when your family's like sends the Christmas card out, like Debbie loves violin. She
No.
And then Kai hatcheted a guy into submission after he tried to kill a man. And,
Yeah, no. They'd seen him at a wedding in Red Deer a few months earlier, and it just seemed so Kai for him to suddenly reappear like this. It didn't surprise them at all that he'd been helping people. But it was also clear that he'd been through something traumatic. As his mother watched people's reactions and saw the reach of the video continue to spread and grow, she grew increasingly disturbed. Kai's teenage...
Oh, sorry. He said he did say he didn't have family in the video.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Kai's teenage sister saw her friends post and repost the video, having no idea that Kai was her brother.
Wow.
It didn't seem funny to her at all. At one point in the interview, he said, quote, I don't have any family. As far as anybody I grew up with is concerned, I'm already dead. And it hurt to hear that. Mm-hmm. Things hadn't always been easy between them, but it upset his mother that he seemed to think they didn't care. So who was Kai?
Tell me everything.
Caleb McGillivray spent his life in Red Deer, Alberta. Later, his family moved to St. Paul, about 2 hours' drive northeast of Edmonton. He was the second of 4 children and held treaty status at the Ospioc Cree Nation in Manitoba.
What does that mean?
Yeah, treaty status means that you're a registered First Nation.
Got it.
He'd always been remarkably smart and creative, full of energy and unpredictable. He struggled throughout his life and had been hospitalized more than once for mental health treatment. Mm-hmm. Quote, Kai had a real tough life, said Kai's dad, Gil. He and Kai's mother, Shirley, divorced their son. Nope, they didn't divorce their son.
Emancipate, my favorite thing.
That's right. Shirley and Gil divorced when their son was 4. Shirley described him as a, quote, delightful child. Quote, he was in treatment homes until he turned 18, and then they cut him loose and washed their hands of him. Gil continued. Kai made accusations that he was physically and mentally abused at one of the homes. The system let my son down.
So he was in drug and alcohol treatment homes?
I think it was for his mental health.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. As a teenager, he had been seriously traumatized by a violent sexual assault he suffered while hitchhiking through British Columbia. A man was charged but not convicted.
Fuck.
Yeah. I know. And like a lot of these, I wish I was just telling you about this like happy-go-lucky dude that liked to hitchhike around and...
Well,
you know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like it's pretty apparent in his video. It's like we would like to believe that there's just this carefree dude who can hatchet someone in the head and be a good guy and be okay with it, but that's just not how it works. Like we all know that. So
right.
I'm glad to hear, deeper things about this guy, not have him just be this caricature of a kind of homeless hippie surfer dude.
Right. By the time he was 18, Kai spoke 3 languages and had done some schooling.
Wow.
But he was always drawn back to the road, and his family let him go. He was a free spirit, and they knew better than to try to keep him home. In the resort towns of British Columbia, where Kai had lived on and off, people remember him as outgoing enough to sit down at a table full of strangers. My private nightmare. Just saying.
Yeah, if I had a fucking
Way
nickel
too
for
shy.
every time social anxiety held me back in this world, I'd be a very wealthy person.
Right?
Yes.
But he was so unruly that he'd been kicked out of, quote, every drinking establishment in this town. Mm-hmm. Friends quickly learned that he was impossible to control or predict, and there was something in him that could turn suddenly dark. Mm-hmm. He could be extremely kind and generous, and a moment later equally crude and profane.
Right.
A few days after his news interview went viral, Kai got invitations to 13 different countries and just about every news program and talk show imaginable.
What?
Yeah. The most notable interest came from the producers of Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Excuse me?
Yeah, they wanted to do a reality show with him.
What? Mm-hmm. Wow.
Kai ended up agreeing to only one big-time interview with Jimmy Kimmel Live. The producers of the show pushed hard for an appearance, sweetening the deal by promising to put Kai in a limo filled with weed and let him drive around LA doing whatever he wanted. He appeared on the show 10 days after his viral fame began.
Oh my God. Did they give him a limo full of weed?
No weed. It was like a fake car on the studio.
Oh, okay.
In the studio, yeah.
And this was how many years ago? So weed wasn't legal in California. I don't know that you could legally show weed on television regardless, right?
That's true.
It's not
yeah.
federally legal, so I imagine you can't just... Regardless, also, children shouldn't be watching shows where people are just blazing up weed in limos, I guess.
Yeah, it's Jimmy Kimmel.
Loosen up, guys. Let's just give the guy a limo full of weed.
That's right. It was 2013. I don't know when
Weed
I've had
legalized.
kids since then, so I don't know when. Yeah, weed
In
legalized.
California, I think it was like last year. It was very recent.
Yeah. Well, there you go, guys. But no weed in the limo.
Damn it.
Yeah, he appeared on the show 10 days after his viral fame began. On the show, Kai answered questions about his life and philosophies and described his plans to build a house of willow hoops and moss. Quote, "You don't want to have a home, correct?" Kimmel asked. "What the hell are you talking about?" Kai said. "I am home." At the end of the appearance, Kimmel gave Kai a surfboard and a wetsuit, and they hugged. Quote, "Thanks for not killing me with a hatchet," Kimmel said. Going back to the Globe and Mail article, quote, "Soon there were Kai memes and Kai GIFs, Kai Facebook pages, and a flurry of Twitter accounts like @DogtownKai, @HatchetGuyKai, and @NotTheFakeKai. There were, quote, Kai the Hitchhiker buttons and posters and t-shirts for sale, and it being February, Valentine's that read, quote, I must ask you a question. Axe.
Oh, yeah, he's... Good job on that delivery. I must ask you a question.
I must axe you a question.
But it was a
And-
hatchet, so that joke doesn't land it
Thank
regardless.
you. Right. And, quote, don't smash my heart.
Like I choose you from The Simpsons.
One woman knitted his likeness in the form of a tiny hatchet-wielding doll. Suddenly, everyone who ran into Kai wanted to get him stoned or buy him a drink or a meal, a small price for a selfie and a story to share on their own social media pages. Quote, "How many nights should I offer my couch for Kai?" one man asked in a Facebook poll. He's kind of famous. On the Colbert Report, Stephen Colbert concluded, quote, "For the first time in human history, people are saying, boy, we sure are lucky that homeless hitchhiker was carrying in a hatchet."
Yeah.
Article continues, "Weeks later, as he drifted from place to place on a wave of viral celebrity, Kai got a large tattoo on the right side of his face and neck. One website held a contest to identify the images, describing it as, quote, a swirling miasma of mystical symbolism perfectly befitting a man of Kai's guru-like qualities."
Wowee.
Yeah, and I'll post pictures. It's quite the tattoo.
Is it a miasma?
I would say so.
Right on, Kai.
Yep. But public attention and interest was already starting to turn. While some commenters defended the tattoo, others concluded Kai was stupid or high, or mentally ill, or just seeking attention.
God damn it.
By the end of March, a Facebook page that had been formed in his honor and hosting concerts and events with him in Fresno was shutting down. A terse message announcing, quote, in all caps, "We cannot vouch for Kai's integrity towards people anymore." They continue, "We hope Kai will help himself and best wishes to him. Lesson: disrespect and unappreciation will get you nowhere. You're not going to come into our city and think you can run over us with your so-called fame." There was a lot of small
What?
letters, big letters. So it sounds like he was not showing up and using a lot of profanity in front of children and just being very unpredictable and crude,
Right,
and
because that's who
Kai.
he is.
Right.
Right.
and pissing people off. Yeah, it's one of those when you watch a 5-minute video of a guy and you're like, oh, he's great, and then the reality of
The fact that he's got mental illness and he's homeless and he actually hatcheted somebody in the head to gain that fame, it was justifiable, but that's still a really intense thing to do to a person and then just
Right.
joke about it. So yeah,
Right.
of course the guy, I would probably high five him and thank him for helping those people, but I wouldn't bring him home. I don't,
yeah, right. On May 14th, 2013, just 3 months after the interview went viral, a post appeared on Kai's Facebook page. It read, quote, "What would you do if you woke up with a groggy head, metallic taste in your mouth, in a stranger's house, and started retching, realizing that someone had drugged and raped you? What would you do?" Kai was no stranger to dark and twisted Facebook posts, and it could be difficult to tell if he was serious or telling the truth. Days earlier, he had written a long and detailed post saying he was sexually and physically abused and locked in a cage as a child, and that his family were members of a cult who believed there was a demon in him. A few days before his cryptic Facebook post on May 11th, Kai met 73-year-old Joseph Galfi at Times Square in New York City. According to Kai, Joseph approached him and said, quote, "You look lost." The older man then offered Kai a place to stay for a few nights and food to eat. Kai agreed. Quote, "You need to be very careful, Kai," texted Kim Conley, a Facebook friend who had planned to meet up with Kai that weekend. Quote, "I'm carefree and brave. I'll be fine," he reassured her. "I found a good person who put me up for the night." He spent the first night with Joseph, left for the day, and came back later to spend another night. When Joseph didn't show up for work on Monday and missed an appointment, his coworker called some of his friends and neighbors and asked them to check on him. Robert Ellenport, a longtime friend of Joseph's, arrived to find his house dark and quiet. The day's newspaper sat uncollected outside. Joseph had known health issues. He'd lived alone since the death of the man some knew as his, quote, houseboy and employee, and others knew as his life partner. The man died several years earlier. He was a lawyer and a military man, reaching the rank of major while serving in the U.S. Army from 1965 to 1970.
Wow.
He loved traveling, the New York Giants, and was a talented musician. He played in a wedding band for over 25 years. Ellenport expected the worst when a police officer who responded to the scene came out of the house looking grim. But Ellenport was speechless when he learned his friend had been murdered. Joseph had been found face down on the floor of his bedroom, dressed only in his underwear and socks. He'd been brutally beaten and sustained numerous serious blunt force injuries to his face, head, neck, chest, and arms, including 3 skull fractures, 4 broken ribs, and severe contusions, abrasions, and bleeding. One of his ears had almost been torn off.
Jesus.
Yeah. Police quickly connected Joseph and Kai through texts on Joseph's phone. Kai was arrested 3 days later in a Greyhound station in Philadelphia. He cut his long hair short with a knife, but he'd been recognized by multiple people, both because of his internet fame and the distinctive tattoo on his face.
Yeah, that's a
big
unfortunate
giveaway.
timeline. Yeah, when
Yeah.
you're trying to get away with murder.
Right.
Just, what's the word? Miasma to your cheeks.
Yeah. When the officer tapped him on the shoulder, Kai initially thought it was a fan seeking an autograph. When questioned by police, Kai told them he'd blacked out both nights he'd spent at Joseph's house after drinking just 1 beer. The second night, he woke up to find Joseph on top of him, pulling his pants down. He attacked Joseph to get away from him and fled the house. He claimed he didn't know Joseph was dead until he was arrested. Kai was held on $3 million bond. He ended up sitting in jail for 6 years.
Excuse me, what?
6 years.
I feel like I've been hearing more and more about these not speedy trials. Very, very not speedy trials. Is that
Yes.
something that's changing? Do you know?
I don't know. I mean, and there's habeas corpus. I know that you can file
Right,
motions to get your case.
right.
Like-
if you have a good lawyer
Right.
or, competent lawyer.
Right. But yeah, I don't know.
6 years?
6 years. We waited in jail
Holy
for 6 years.
shit. Well, we just did that case where the person got off of a bunch of charges because statute of limitations expired in the time that
Right.
they sat in jail. What the
Right.
fuck?
So crazy. Most of the time he was in solitary confinement or segregation. 2 months after he was arrested, he attempted suicide.
Of course.
While in jail, he wrote a letter to then-Governor Chris Christie, pleading to be released, claimed authorities destroyed evidence and failed to collect evidence that would prove his case, and recorded songs during phone calls in jail. He also had a large following on social media supporting him, but many of those followers have since vanished. Kai's trial began April 9th, 2019. Before the trial began, Union County Superior Court Judge Robert Kirsch denied requests by Court TV and Inside Edition to broadcast the proceedings, and also barred mention of any kind of internet fame during the trial. The judge said, quote, "It is obvious that he plays to the media. He's obsessed with it. I've never seen anything quite like it. Quite honestly, and for his own sake, I'm removing that intoxicant to him so that he can focus on the matters at hand." Judge Kirsch denied Kai's request to fire his lawyer and represent himself. The jury heard testimony that Kai had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and post-traumatic stress disorder related to his assault as a teen. The defense stuck to their case of self-defense and tried to paint Kai as an innocent victim who was attacked by a sexual predator. His lawyer raised questions about the police investigation, including why drinking glasses in the home weren't examined for drug residue, why blood in a semen swab taken from Joseph's body wasn't tested for DNA, and why police didn't perform a rape kit on Kai after his arrest.
Yeah.
Throughout the trial, Kai interrupted with his own legal arguments and comments, and at times so disruptively the judge threatened to remove him from the courtroom. A psychological report filed with the court described Kai showing serious antisocial behavior from the time he was a toddler, and said he admitted to killing hamsters and trying to set the family home on fire as a child.
What?
Yeah. When asked, Kai's mother Shirley did not want to speak about her son's mental health, except to say he struggled with his parents' divorce and then with the sexual assault that he suffered as a teen, and that there were times in his childhood and youth when he was, quote, not necessarily having the ability to make good, healthy decisions. Quote, being a free spirit is not a mental health issue, she said. Because somebody doesn't fit into a box, it isn't a mental health issue. She didn't want to talk about the allegations of abuse he leveled against her and her family, except to say that they got help as a family to be healthy. Quote, this is about him, and this is about the rest of his life, she said, and that's really the thing that I focus on the most.
So she couldn't, it doesn't sound like she could really clear much up about his childhood or about who he is.
Right, I don't think she was willing to.
Right.
Right.
So either, yeah.
I mean, it's really tricky, and I tried to find out more about all of that.
Yeah.
I really
It's a
couldn't
lot of
find
big
much.
question marks, right? Like,
Right.
not that it was their fault at all, but maybe
Right.
it was, but I don't know. Like, I don't know what I would do if I had a mentally ill child, but sending them to a series of homes would probably not be my best course of action.
Right.
But I
couldn't-
don't have a mentally ill child who
Right.
tried to set the family home on fire, so I don't know.
And Kai is clearly has a mental illness, and so it's hard to know what, like, the things coming out of his mouth
Right.
they all seem like hard to believe, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that they didn't happen. You know, it's
Yeah.
really, there's a lot of like,
Right.
what do you know? I don't know.
Yeah, and is the mom kind of keeping things more quiet because she wants to protect his privacy and respect his, respect him as a person?
Right. Or is she ashamed?
Or is she ashamed or, covering something up? Like, lose situation.
Yeah. After a 4-week trial, the jury deliberated for 2 days. When they returned a verdict, Kai was found guilty of first-degree murder.
Holy shit. First degree?
Yep.
What?
Yeah, and I had a hard time finding a lot of details about the trial, but yeah, found guilty of first-degree murder, which really surprises me. I think that, the prosecution didn't put up much of a fight, really. They just were like, it's clear that he murdered him, and he murdered him very brutally.
Right.
And that's my biggest question, I think, is that it's one thing to hit a man to get him off of you, and you're scared, and you have PTSD from a previous attack.
Yep.
But then to, like, destroy him.
Right.
Break bones and
Overkill.
ribs and
Right.
This wasn't just a couple hits to defend yourself.
Yeah, but that's not premeditated. That's a reaction to trauma.
Yeah.
If he was sexually assaulted as a child and he wakes up and he finds himself being sexually assaulted, then
Right. And I
of
didn't
course he's
find
gonna
any
fly into this crazy rage.
nothing that I read talked about, like, nothing, as far as I know, nothing was stolen from the house. There wasn't like other motive,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it sounds like the furthest thing from first degree murder.
right.
I mean, that's me being empathetic and sympathetic to his past and believing his past, which I think there's no reason not to. This kid obviously has a hard time, but he doesn't sound like a cold, calculated murderer. He sounds like
Right.
somebody who reacts to situations. And manslaughter seems way more appropriate under those circumstances.
Yeah. And just like in all murder cases, Joseph's not able to tell his side of the story or what happened exactly that night. So
Yep. Well, and it sounds like this guy just had a terrible defense lawyer. He sat in prison for 6 years without a trial, and then the prosecution doesn't have to really do much. I've listened to so many cases. I got hooked on this podcast for a while that was about, I think it's called Actual Innocence, where they talk about cases of wrongfully convicted individuals, and it's like the number one reason that people get wrongfully convicted. Well, there's two: talking to the police, which we all know, no, never, ever, ever Talk to the police.
Get a lawyer.
Get a lawyer, and get a good lawyer, because if you have a bad defense lawyer, you're probably going to jail, and you're probably going to jail for a very long time. So sounds like that guy didn't get much help.
Right. So on May 30th, 2019, Judge Kirsch sentenced Kai to 57 years in prison.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Quote, "You created this public image of a surfing free spirit, unshackled by the constraints of materialism and consumption. But underneath that free spirit, the jury saw another side of you." He continues, quote, "You are a powder keg of explosive rage and a cold-blooded, calculated, callous killer."
Jesus.
He noted Kai will be eligible for parole around 2061, when he is about 72 or 73 years old.
Wow.
Quote, yeah, quote, "which by complete coincidence is still younger than Mr. Galfy was when you murdered him."
I just hated Kai.
Yeah. Given a chance to speak, Kai said he had been wrongfully convicted by a system both corrupt and stacked against him. Quote, "This has been nothing but a sham trial, and you have railroaded an innocent man," he said. "Shame on you." He's in the process of appealing his verdict.
I mean, honestly, I hope he gets his verdict appealed. Because if there was no evidence collected, there was nothing, like, he just had nothing on his side. Doesn't sound like a fair investigation. Doesn't sound like a fair trial. Certainly doesn't sound like an appropriate charge.
Yeah. And there could be a lot that I just couldn't, didn't have time to find. There could just be, like, a tremendous amount of evidence and whatnot that I didn't come across. As far as, seems like there's a big hole here of, like, what is it that made the jury believe that he was, like, killed, first-degree murder.
Right.
And I don't have that information, unfortunately.
Damn it.
I know. After the trial, Joseph's friend Robert Ellenport said, quote, "The internet created this whole sensational story, and the real-life tragedy got lost." He says his friend's death did not get the attention it deserved because of the broader spectacle. Quote, "The internet burst lasted a short period of time, and the tragedy and sorrow continues."
Mm-hmm. Damn it.
I know.
I hate shit like that. I hate the way we treat people, too. Fame is such a tricky bitch, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like,
it really is. I mean, we know from experience.
Listen, ever since we started this podcast, I just feel like everybody wants a piece of me, and I can't know. It's like... It definitely seems like if you don't have people in your life to protect you from fame, it will consume you and it will kill you.
Right.
You know, like, watch the Amy Winehouse documentary, even like the Taylor Swift documentary, definitely the Justin Bieber show seasons, definitely. But, it's just like everybody wants a piece of you, and they're going to sort of take you and eat you up and spit you out when they're done with you. And this kid seems like a really good example of that.
Yep.
Didn't get the support he needed when he was younger. A lot of bad shit happened to him. Gets older, he's a little, like...
bipolar.
Yeah. And people love it, and then they fucking hate it. And it's
Right.
just like, that's so unfair. There's no nuance or care taken with him because he's just too easy to dismiss, is what it sounds like. And like you said, there could be big gaps in prosecution's case that are missing from the trial, but considering he was so high profile to begin with, I would be very surprised if that was the case.
Right.
I would feel like when you're reading about it, you would have found that information if it existed.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the article that I based a lot of this off of was so thorough that
Right.
I assumed there wasn't a whole lot extra.
Yep.
He did it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did hear when I was reading that their Netflix is thinking about doing a documentary about him.
Yes. Good.
That they will get to the bottom of it. I'll let them do all the hard work.
Fuck yeah. Well, it's like, how many times have we heard the story of what's his bucket? Luca Magnotta. I've listened to like 11 podcasts about Luca Magnotta, and I was like, I don't need to watch Don't Fuck with Cats. Is that what it's called? Yep. And then, holy Jesus, man. I was like, we knew 1/1000th of the actual story based on what they uncovered in the Netflix documentary. So I hope that happens, because now I got to know everything.
Yeah, I just have that feeling that there's just so much more underneath all of this.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about it.
I am too. I'm also going to rush out and get my degree in criminal journalism, or whatever it's called.
I know, right?
Because it's like, we are just storytellers. We're retelling stories that have already been told doing this podcast. But the more we do it, the more we're like, God damn it. I
know.
Do I need to start knocking on doors and pushing microphones into people's faces. I don't have time for that shit, but
No,
I
calling the police.
Yes. Going down to the basement, getting the box out, opening it up.
That's
They're
all
like,
it is, right?
You only have 30 minutes. And you're like,
Oh, God.
pull out the microfiche, take a picture of the thing, sneak it out so that we have the lost information.
The bell tolls midnight. We gotta hurry.
Yeah. Yes, there will be bells tolling in this scenario. Well, I love that story. I feel really sad about it, though. I feel really, really sad about that. But it's a good reminder we don't fucking know people, you know?
Right.
And that there's so much more information than what is presented in the media. And we need to be kinder, and we need to be gentler, and we need to humanize each other, because when you don't, really, 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 really awful shit happens.
Yep.
So thank you for telling that story. And I am still very entertained by that video. He's goddamn adorable.
Yeah.
It's also like, I've had a lot of bipolar friends, and they are always the best. You know, they're just the most brilliant, dynamic, interesting, fun, funny. They're the best until they get depressed, or like the darkness takes over. And
manic.
it's a really fucked up part of that disorder, that you get to be the absolute fucking best and then feel like absolute garbage too. But you're a beautiful bunch of people. So if you're listening to this and you have bipolar, we love you. And I hope that your life is manageable and beautiful and peaceful, or whatever you want it to be. Yep. And that people are taking care of you and not taking advantage of you.
Yep.
So good job.
Thank you.
Yes. Hey, speaking of people that we love, do you want to shout out some of our covens?
Yeah, I got the covens to shout out. We got patrons to shout out. We have shout outs.
You guys ready for some shouts out? And you don't even know, I mean, if you're a recent Patreon supporter, you do know you're about to get shouted out. But you might be in a coven and you don't know about it.
Right.
Because we have some very interesting cities popping up around the nation and the world that we want to shout out, because it's fucking fascinating, man. I'm like, how did somebody find us there and then spread us around enough that they're charting in the top, 20 of cities that are listening to us?
Yep. Well, our Texas coven, too. I've been thinking about you guys out there. Mm-hmm. I know that the virus is heating up really bad.
Yep.
And we just hope that you're safe and healthy.
Yes, big time.
I really want to come to Texas soon. So get better so that we can hang out.
Yeah, get better. Let's lock this shit down and we can have some barbecue parties, whatever you do in Dallas.
Yep.
Dallas is still, you're no longer number 1. That's okay, but you are still in the top 10, even top 5.
I think that Texas in general, though, is like the overall number 1.
Overall number 1?
Mm-hmm.
Good job, you guys. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at cities here. Chicago and Portland. Duh. I lived near Chicago. We came from Portland. I mean, we're not discounting you, but that's like our friends, and our friends' friends. So that one makes sense. This one, number 3, Islington, England.
I saw that.
Number 3. Hi,
so
everybody. Louise, are you responsible for that?
Probably. Who else?
Who else is in our Islington, England coven? You guys that's fucking awesome. You're number 3. I've never even been to England, so that makes me very happy. Atlanta, Georgia. Mm-hmm. No idea where that came from. I have some.
Love it.
Yeah, I have some friends, but not like super good friends, and not necessarily friends that I think are listening to this. So fucking awesome. Then there's a little baby Dallas, our first ever coven. Minneapolis, Minnesota. That makes sense because it's near Chicago. I love Minneapolis, by the way. You are a very beautiful city.
Did you see Akron, Ohio?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, Akron. When you look at overall.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you, Ohio.
Shit, yeah. Sydney, New South Wales. Yes.
Woo!
Hi, Georgia Barado. Hi. Who else is in Australia? I know there's more of you, but I don't know. Yeah. I definitely know Georgia's in Australia because she won our giveaway and I had to send stuff to Australia. I keep saying that like it's a complaint. It's not at all a complaint. I just thought it was funny. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll stop bringing it up.
You just need like extra praise for it. You did a good job sending it.
I spent
stuff.
tens of dollars getting that over there. God. Clayton, Missouri. Fucking awesome. I don't know anybody in Clayton, Missouri. I'm so glad you guys are listening.
Oh. Sorry, breaking stuff.
Sadie's celebrating a little too hard. Okay, here's a place I don't even know how to say this. Dublin, Leinster? Listen, Dublin, Leinster, Coven. I need to know more about what that means. What am I saying right now? What are these words? Where are you?
Help us.
Help us. I mean, I've heard of Dublin, but Dublin, comma, Leinster. Tell me what that means. You're on the top. Fallon, Nevada. That's a random one. Love it. And we'll do one more. Frederickson, Washington.
There
What?
you go. I don't even know.
I love it.
So.
We love you guys. Keep it up.
Yep.
We'll keep shouting out. Make your coven bigger so we can shout you out more. Because
That's
I'm
right.
like, in my mind, this is like a cool race. Right?
Who's at the top, you guys? I just want a roll call. So if you're from those places, tell us. How did you find us? I'm so
Yes.
curious.
Yep.
We're
Who
so
else is
happy to
listening?
have you. Speaking of happy to have people,
Yes.
got a handful of new patrons this week. Thank you so much. Thank
Lame
you
on
so much.
Yes, so fucking much. You have no idea.
Yep. Thank you, TJ Baker,
Yay.
Stephanie E,
Yay.
Claire S,
Yay.
Aaron D,
Hooray.
and a big shout out to our dear loves Maisie and Carlos.
Oh, hi, guys.
Thank you so much.
Early listeners, longtime friends. Love you guys. That is so sweet.
So sweet. Yeah, thank you guys, all of you, so much for supporting us and being there. I think, I don't know, it's really not been that long. This quarantine has made my life feel very long in lots of ways. But when I think about the fact that we've been doing this for like 5 months, I don't even know. It's
wild.
It's amazing. So thank you, all of you, for being
So
there.
much. I think we're about to break even as far as like our Patreon support versus our hard costs. So that's very exciting.
Yeah.
And you know what else I would like to do? Only this. So
Right. Yep, me too.
keep it up. We
please.
would love
Thank
it.
you.
We want to only do this. And then if you really support us a lot, then we'll throw barbecue parties around the nation once the quarantine lifts. I promise you that. If you support us enough, I will buy you barbecue. Also, like McRib style fake barbecue, because I'm a vegetarian and those things are fucking delicious. So if we get enough support, I don't know what that number is. We'll know it when we see it. And once quarantine lifts, we will drive around, maybe in a barbecue party truck. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here. It's off the top of my head.
Should make a lot of promises, you guys.
We're
You
gonna
gotta
call
make
it-
this happen.
They will kill mobile coven barbecue party.
2022.
2022. Maybe 2021. Let's be hopeful.
Thanks. Okay.
Yeah, because by then virus will be gone and we'll be rich enough to throw mobile coven barbecue parties. Woo!
Yeah, I'm ready.
Fuck yeah. That sounds so good. We're getting sushi
Yeah.
for dinner, which sounds delicious, but now I really want like a fake McRib. I've never had a real McRib, so I don't actually know that
I think they're pretty fake too.
Yeah, but are they delicious? They look delicious.
Yeah, they're good.
Like a junky, shitty way.
Yeah.
I feel like Morningstar Farms has a fake rib that's like in a pouch and you cut it open and it
Right.
smushes
I think you're
out.
right.
God,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Does that still
Go to the
exist?
store. Get one.
Gotta get that bun, that soft sugar bun, and what else you put on it? Like a pickle or something? I don't know.
Yeah, pickles. for
Mayo.
sure. Something spicy.
Oh my God, here's a tip for the summer, you guys. I was at my friend's social distance style, of course, last night, and we made some dinner, and she realized she didn't have any butter, and we made corn on the cob. And luckily, two of us geniuses were like, well, let's just put mayonnaise on it. Never going back. Never. I mean, I've had elote like a million times, but it never dawns on me that I could just eat corn with mayo on it. Holy fuck. Just a little layer of mayo, salt, pepper.
Parmesan cheese, man. Go just like do it.
Well, she didn't have anything else. You know, she didn't
okay.
have like chili powder or parm, which would have done it all the way. A little lime on there, but Jesus, if you ever find yourself in a pinch or you just want to taste the most delicious thing that you've had all week, put mayo on the corn from now on. I swear to God, I'm never going back to butter.
God, I want corn on the cob.
It was Indiana sweet corn too.
Oh, God.
Okay,
We're
guys.
for ours down here.
Listen, if you don't want to live where you're living anymore, here's 2 reasons to move to Indiana. One is cheap and fucking cheap. It's so cheap to live here. It's awesome. 2, and where I live is like really mid-century, and you can get like a mid-century like mansion for nothing. So hit me up if you want tips on that. But second thing, probably the most important thing, Indiana sweet corn. If you've never had it, get in the car, get here now, have it.
Yes, it really is the fucking best. Every year it comes around, and I'm like, well, I'm excited. But I play it cool, and then I take that first bite, and it's just like, oh my fucking God. Like, what is going on with this corn? It's so good.
It's God's greatest creation.
Hey, you know what we can do is we can bring the sweet corn
Yes!
in our barbecue mobile.
In our, Sadie, it's the mobile barbecue coven.
We will kill.
Barbecue coven party.
We've got the what's it called, marketing down pat for this idea, you guys.
It rolls right off the tongue. It's snappy. You know, it's going to have a really easy hashtag that's like 17 words long. It's going to be a huge success.
Yeah.
And
go.
If you want to find out more about the 2021 mobile barbecue
sweet corn
Fest. Coven Road Festival, you can go find us at They Will Kill on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. You can go to our website, which is theywillkill.com, and you can email us at theywillkillpodcast@gmail.com.
Please, my voice is not here anymore. Rate, review, subscribe, please.
Please.
Thank you, AJ Bergans, for our music.
Fucking thank you so much, you genius.
Yep, he's got music coming out soon.
Yep.
Like very soon. Oh,
yep.
And speaking of soon, I think one more Saturday coming at you.
Yep.
And then we're going to switch over
to Patreon
on Saturdays. So, just remember.
Your life is about to get real shitty. Just remember that.
Just remember that.
Yep. Sorry about it.
Get your tears out now.
But on the positive side, last week we taught you, I enlightened you that if you wait long enough, an ugly thing will get gorgeous. This is one of those things. So if you give us your dollars, your $3, which hurts a little bit because that's an ugly thing, the beautiful side of that is Mobile Barbecue Coven
Sweet corn
road trip 2021. Guys,
yeah,
everybody wins. There. I'm actually kind of serious and very serious about that. I think that's something that could make happen.
Yes,
right?
I think about it all the time. How much seriously, how much we appreciate you all for listening.
Yes. Sorry,
the angels come down from.
I know. Seriously, that was so. That was to emphasize what Sadie was saying to be true.
But seriously, I think Courtney and I both the connections we're forming through this podcast and on social media and emails, they feel very genuine on our side, and it means so much that you guys are connecting and reaching out to talk to us. And I got a very sweet email from somebody who wants to know more about becoming a doula. And I love that shit.
Yeah.
So let's talk about it, you guys. You want to know more? Email me. I'll email you back.
Yeah. And then when we meet up, we can talk about it awkwardly through barbecue faces. I feel like that's the worst possible introduction to somebody is
corn,
while eating
mayonnaise,
barbecue.
Corn and fake McRib juice.
It's just like ripping the Band-Aid off of meeting somebody. Just getting straight to the awkward and disgusting like animalistic versions of ourselves.
But that by that point we will all be best friends, so it won't matter.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'll get those bibs with the lobsters on them, but it can have a pig on it.
Yep, or a tofu. We got a lot of things to purchase for this party, so hit us up on the Patreon. And remember.
All right, so now my second child, my youngest, who's 2.5 years old, today. He came up to me, and the kid loves Tylenol because it tastes like candy, right?
Right, yes.
Yeah. He says, Mommy, I need Tylenol. I said, oh, what's going on? What's going on, buddy? He said, well, my bones are too wiggly.
God damn that fucking kid. I swear to God.
So there you go. Get some Tylenol for your wiggly bones,
If
everybody.
your bone's feeling wiggly, just get some baby aspirin. It is delicious.
Yeah.
Or just eat a Smartie if you need a baby aspirin
I
fix.
know. I'm constantly like, nope, I'm sorry, Tylenol's not candy.
I know. It's a big mistake to get us all addicted to baby medicine.
Mm-hmm. Flintstones, vitamins.
Oh, I ate an entire container when I was 3. I opened them up in the morning. My parents weren't awake yet, or were ignoring me. I don't know, neglectful 80s stuff. And just kidding, Mom. You weren't neglectful at all. You were wonderful. Our mother listens, and I know that just broke her heart a little bit, and it was not my intention. I was a very, very precocious young child. So when I was 5, I was old enough to remember, so it was probably 5. Got the Flintstones vitamins out of the cabinet, sat down thinking I was doing like a good, healthy thing, and ate the entire bottle while watching cartoons. And I had to, well, luckily our mom was a nurse and had Epicac and vomit. I'm still here to this day. Irreversible damage has been done, clearly, but
We love you anyway, Court.
I'm still here. Fast forward 6 months, I'm hatcheting people, I'm on the news, I'm like,
no.
shredding the gnar, whatever.
Well, if anybody's still listening to this point, we love you.
We love
Thank
you.
for listening.
No, I want to talk about some more things. Just kidding. We love you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.